Time now for your forewarned weather with Cedric Haynes.
Well, happy Friday, Utah. Let's talk about something a little unique out there. Of course, we have the full buck moon that's out there right now, or at least it's close to being full. It's at 99.5%. Of course, yesterday at 2:30 in the afternoon is when it was officially full, but of course, we couldn't see it then, right? Now, the moon sets at 6:36 this morning, so you still have a few moments to head out there and try to capture a quick glimpse of this thing here. Of course, it's known as the buck moon because this is typically the time of the year when the male deer begin to grow those new antlers out there. Also, it's known as the thunder moon because we typically see scattered showers and storms across the country during this time of the year. And you've also probably heard it as the hay moon, which of course just typically signifies the harvesting season that of course is occurring out there. So as we look at your weather headlines beyond the full buck moon, well, we've got another comfortable seasonal afternoon expected here across the Beehive State with that sunshine and somewhat pleasant temperatures across the northern half of the state. As you get south of I-70, it's still going to be a scorcher, so don't expect much relief there. Now, as we go into the weekend, it's going to get warmer. We're going to still stick with the breezy and dry conditions, so watch out for that fire danger, especially across central and southern sections of the state. And then we're going to be heating it up again as we get ready to kick off next week as that high pressure rebuilds and establishes itself right over the area. Out there, though, this morning, we're not talking about a warming trend. We're talking about some cooler temperatures across the Beehive State. In fact, everyone a few degrees cooler than this time yesterday, but numbers anywhere between 5 to 15 degrees cooler in many spots out there. So while it's July, we're not talking about a major cool down. It does feel somewhat pleasant across the area. 56 degrees in Logan, but we've got 46 degrees for our friends in Heber. Good morning to you. We've got 65 in Emory, 71 degrees in Green River, 68 in Moab, 71 in Escalante, and 73 to kick off the day in St. George. The weather map, well, it is quiet across the Beehive State there. We can see a couple of high clouds building in. We've got this weak boundary that's moving through. This is the boundary number 2 that's coming through. Again, all it does is keep that northwesterly flow in place across the northern half of the state with those seasonal conditions. But eventually that high pressure will begin to build back in. And so you can see as we go throughout this afternoon, any shower and storm activity will be established over the front range to our east. So we stay dry. And then as we go into the weekend, high pressure takes back over. That returns that southerly flow. And that means we'll start that warming trend as we go throughout the weekend. And then by the time we kick off next week, it's just going to be downright hot again. So if you're making plans for the rest of your Friday afternoon, maybe firing up the grill, looking pretty good this afternoon with temperatures in the mid-80s, jumping into the low 90s by late this afternoon. As far as the weekend forecast goes, I told you about that warming trend. Well, check it out. The Wasatch Front, we go from the low 90s into the mid-90s. We go from the triple digits, 106 to 107 this weekend in St. George. So if you're hoping for that cool air to stick around, I got some bad news for you. As that low pressure continues to rotate off towards the north and east, it allows for this heat dome to kind of reestablish itself heading into the beginning of next week. One thing we will be watching, though, there continues to be some hints that we'll get stuck in between that high pressure and a new low pressure area. And if we can tap into that, we may be able to sneak in a little moisture by the end of next week. But fingers crossed, that's a long way out. And right now, the sign is not strong for it. But there are some hints that we could see a slightly wetter than average pattern. But that's not going to be until we get closer to about July the 20th. Or 21st. But we'll keep our fingers crossed for it because we sure could use it. St. George, 106 for us today, 107 Saturday, 108 Sunday, 109 on your Monday. It's going to be hot, that's for sure. The Wasatch Front, 92 today, 94 Saturday, 97 on Sunday. How about 98 degrees by the time we get towards your Monday, flirting with 100 by Tuesday.